To set up the default grade settings for your module, enter through Assessment and Grades, and the Setup wizard will open. You can skip through this information and then press Start at the bottom of your screen. There are now 7 steps that will guide you through setting up the grading system. These are my recommendations that have worked for me, and I hope they will work for you as well. I've changed mine from weighted to points, as points do not show the same amount of information to the students. If you choose weighted, if a student gets a C minus in an assignment, it will also show them that they have got, say, 5 out of 10 if the weight is 10. Sometimes that can lead to questions about why they lost 5 points when actually they understand what a C minus is better than they would the points. So I recommend using points here, and we can actually hide the points at a later stage. Once that's clicked, you can continue. Adjusted final grade allows you more control over the grading area than calculated final grade, which is more restrictive. So I'd click that and continue. In step 3, you have a choice between dropping ungraded items or treating ungraded items as 0. You would use the first if you have, for example, 3 assignments and only one of them must be completed by the student. So you would drop the ones that the student doesn't complete. In the second case, you might have 3 assignments, all of which are required. And if the student doesn't do one of them, it should be counted then and should be counted as 0. You can leave this ticked. In step 4, you will choose a default grade scheme. This is due to change shortly to include 2 more schemes, as I understand it: letter grading standard and letter grading linear. For the moment, you can choose the one that you have selected in the CMS. So 40% pass standard is the one that most people will be using. The letter grading here has different numbers behind it than the UCD system, but if you choose it, you will only be adding letters, and so the numbers behind them are actually irrelevant. But I recommend that you stick with 40% pass standard or 40% pass linear, depending on what you have in the CMS. You can still grade by letter using these, and I will show you how to do that in another video. That is up to personal preference. In step 6, I'd advise you to remove the points grade, but leave the grade scheme symbol, which is actually the letter grade. I also advise to hide the final grade calculation to users. They should just see the letter and not the way that the letter was arrived at. You can leave this at 2 or whatever you choose, and that is fine as it is as well. When we continue to step 7, we get a summary of what we have chosen, and when you click Finish, your default settings for all assessment will have been created.